No one buys their home or a piece of property with the intent to have to sell the house at a discount. There's that stigma, there's that negative connotation out there that real estate investors are out for the money. Oh, you're a real estate investor. Oh, okay, well, you just take advantage of people.
Real estate industry is not smooth industry. The government keeps changing the rules and regulations. Existing property and rebuilding, it is quite tough. So why did you choose to get into real estate industry?
My dad was also into real estate. I saw at an early age that real estate and the power of real estate. It took me work to get hired onto Microsoft. It took 3 no's before I got my yes.
Redeveloping a bad condition property, actually it takes your more efforts, energy and money.
We have to make the houses safe and financiable. If it needs a roof, it needs plumbing, if it needs any of those big ticket items, I've got to make sure I have the budget. People always say, oh, you lowball us. I'm like, I'm not lowballing you. Let's do the math. These big ticket items are expensive. We always like to ask our sellers, do you have a place to go? I am not buying their house if I put them on the street.
Do you have any lesson you would like to share with our viewers?
3 basic things in order to be successful as a real estate investor. I see a lot of people, men and women, who are afraid to stand up and use their voice. The biggest obstacle typically is your own self. And I learned more of that in the tech world. I'd find myself in team meetings, I'm looking around going, oh, I'm the only girl here.
Road Warrior Investors, what brings that name into the picture?
They're adding value and adding positive impact, but their stories are not being heard. And so Road Warrior Investors was created to enable us to travel the U.S., reconnect with real estate investors to have them share their stories on the positive impacts.
So last year we had extreme wildfires. How do you see these kind of challenges?
We do deal with natural disasters, and the marketing team was able to identify that and quickly shift marketing specifically for that. Or even for COVID. We went through COVID.
How geopolitics is hitting it hard? I am asking about the tariffs part.
In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world.
Yeah, materials have gone up in terms of pricing. We do see price changes on some materials, but we're also starting to see prices go down in some areas too.
Welcome to Unicorn Talks. You see,
Thank you.
your story, which I read, it is quite interesting because you were into corporate sales, like technology, and then you shifted your gears to real estate, which is quite a bold move when you are having a stable job, paycheck to paycheck life. It is quite sorted, and then you entered into the career which is quite chaotic. And real estate industry is not very much smooth industry. You see, it is very much volatile. The government keeps changing the rules and regulations, and you are into that. Plus, you are rebuilding the already constructed homes. And what I have noticed through a lot of research reports, and as well as a couple of friends told me, that existing property and rebuilding it is quite tough. So why did you choose to get into real estate industry? Is that your that childhood memory thing, or it was like, no, I want to try something bold and beautiful?
That's a great question, Parag. Why did I get into real estate? I think there's a couple pieces behind the why on that. Growing up, my dad was also into real estate. I know he did. Growing up, we lived in a fourplex, but he owned the fourplex. So I saw at an early age that real estate and the power of real estate that you could do. Learning that from my dad, which I'm so grateful for. When you get up into your early adulthood, again, Dad said either real estate or tech. Those would be the 2 great paths for you. Figure out which one and go for it. Well, sure enough, I started off with real estate, but I was too young at the time to really get into the investing side of that world. I truly believe I was just too young at the time when I started, more than 25 years ago when I first started looking at it. So I ended up moving over to the tech side of the world, which I absolutely love the tech world. You can get sucked into it so easily. And then on a sales side. So I found myself in the corporate technology world sales. In that world, and eventually found myself, because I was right there in the Redmond, Issaquah, Washington area, which is where Microsoft is headquartered. I found myself working for them full time, which I'm so grateful. It took me work to get hired onto Microsoft, though, guys. I had a goal at the time, and I hit that goal. It took 3 no's before I got my yes. It took 3 times to get feedback in interview loops that were brutal. I mean, the interview loops that I went through were half-day, full-day interview loops. Like you'd
Oh.
show up at 8 in the morning, and you either continued all the way through to 5 p.m., or you were cut off somewhere along the line. So I went through 3 different rounds of that and feedback as to what I could do to improve to get into and hired into Microsoft into a corporate tech sales role. And so I took that feedback, grew, and sure enough landed in there. And I'm so grateful I did, because from the previous corporate tech jobs that I had all the way through to Microsoft, I did feel like I grew up. I grew in so many different ways, and I exceeded my goals and my own expectations in those roles that I had there with Microsoft. So grateful for that.
Okay. Tell me one thing. You entered real estate industry because it was connected to your childhood thing as well, and as before starting the recording, you just mentioned that it was kind of a loop, a merry-go-round loop. So, what's the story behind that?
That's a great question, Parag. So, as hard as I fought to get into Microsoft, at about year 8, I started seeing a repetitive pattern. I'm going to call it the merry-go-round. That it was my epiphany to go, I can't continue to do that. I can't do the merry-go-round. And the merry-go-round was this. I saw a lot of my colleagues, which fantastic relationships, still have some incredible relationships with them today. And on both the business as well as customer side. But I saw my colleagues go from tech company to tech company to tech company, the merry-go-round. And they'd pull some of their team with them as well. So they'd go from Microsoft to Google to Amazon, to Amazon to Apple. They would do the merry-go-round. But they're doing the same thing. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do that. That's not for me. It's not in my future.
Okay.
And at that point, Paul and I kind of realized we need to look at making some shift. Now, Paul, my husband, love him. I mean, I'm telling you, Paul and Amelia, my 2 anchors, and family is one of the most important things that we work towards being able to have that balance on. But so Paul left his W-2 job in 2013. We had that first family conversation. Can we have someone in the family actually leave a W-2 job? That's difficult to do. Right, you get used to your rhythm, you get used to your money coming in, you get used to that security. But we knew that Paul was at a ceiling in his engineering firm, pretty much as far up as he could go. And so either he would stay there and continue to do something, which he was starting to get a little miserable doing the same thing, or we break free and go do something a little bit different and see what happens. We had some goals behind that. We talked about where we wanted to go and how I wanted to approach that, which was real estate and really finding that financial freedom within that. And so I said, baby, go. Let's let you walk away from that W-2 job on our terms. And let's have you focus on real estate a little bit more. And sure enough, he did. So from there, we started doing more fix and flips. He focused on that, on the real estate. I'm over here in tech. And by 18, he was starting to get a little bit too busy. He stumbled on another home investors franchise in the Seattle market that had a house that they put on the market. And Paul saw what he bought it for, what he put into it for the rehab, and what he sold it for, and said, where did you find this lead? Because Paul was looking for more leads, because we wanted to do more fix and flip, more real estate investing. Okay. And the home investors franchise said, I found it from home investors. It was a lead that came in, and there you go. And so from there, we started doing some research, because what we realized is we needed access to more leads if we wanted to do more than, say, 4 or 5 deals in a course of a year, right? Fix and flip type deals. So we started researching that, and sure enough, it provided an access to off-market leads, but a little bit more. It was more than just the leads for us at the time, but the leads were the big one. So at the end of 18, we had the second family conversation. Can I walk away from my W-2? It was some sleepless nights. I had the 401k, I had the stock option, I had the full medical benefits for the family. That's a lot, and it was a strong 6-figure. I mean, the 6-figure salary plus commissions on top. So that's hard to walk away from.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we had the conversation, we made the decision, and sure enough, I was able to walk into my leadership team, and instead of having my annual review, I turned the tables, and it felt awesome. Very empowering, very scary. Was very outside of my comfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
but from being outside of comfort zones, I don't know about you, Parag, but every time we push ourselves outside of our comfort zone, we
Mm-hmm.
grow. Have you ever experienced that?
Yes, ma'am. I did.
Yeah.
I did
And
couple
so
of times.
went way outside of our comfort zone. We walked away from
Yeah.
that second W-2 job, and I'm so grateful that we did. And we have not looked back since.
Mm-hmm.
We have grown even more. We've done countless different types of real estate investing along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, in the six plus years that we've now been a franchise owner, I have stories I could tell. So there you go.
Okay. So before we turn towards stories, tell me one thing that you had the license when you were in your 20s,
I did.
real estate license in your 20s, even though when you were not active in that industry.
So that goes back to when I was a lot younger. Looking back today, I was not ready. So I was a real estate agent for a brief period of time in my early 20s. I got my license, did the whole thing. But it was, for me, it was just, it felt so big. Real estate for me at that time just felt so huge. I'm like, oh my God, this is massive. How do I take this on? But I was learning even then a little bit about real estate. And that's where I also stumbled into the tech world. And I just kind of found myself going on to the tech world. It was so hard for me to figure out how to make money in the real estate as an agent. And maybe because my mind was set on the investor side and I hadn't had the training yet.
Okay.
Right. But so, yes, I had my license early 20s in Washington State. And I did let that go. No longer a licensed agent. But I went into that corporate tech sales world instead.
So you were naturally strong in real estate. It was just that you were not ready to get into it. So you kept your experience. You kept building your experience so that you can be ready for this industry, because that is one of the highly brutal industry. What I've been through.
Real estate is such a tough beast. It is. Even today, the markets shift and change so much. But I think what people don't realize is, again, real estate is so large. And if you want to look at real estate investing itself, you need to look at what type of real estate investing do you want to get into, because there's several different types. You can get into residential real estate investing. You can get into commercial real estate investing. You can get into land real estate investing. You can get into development real estate investing. There are different types of real estate that you can look at to get into when it comes to investing.
Right.
Right? Now, we have migrated over into that residential world. That's where we have gotten good at.
Okay.
And it was funny because people will ask us, well, why don't you do some commercial? Well, because we're good at the residential. And one thing that I've learned over my years, especially in the entrepreneurial, yes, it's great to broaden, but when you're good at something, keep doing it. Get better at it.
Right.
Become an expert in it, right?
Subject matter
And
expert.
that's what we're doing. That's what we've done.
Okay, so you were the subject matter expert in the residential space.
We focus in on the residential. That's right. Single family residence is our primary area. We can do condos, we can do manufactured home, we can do single family, we can even do multis, some duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, multi units as well. We've done those as well, but where we found our strength and our expertise is in the single family residential real estate investing world. Now, here's how we do differentiate ourselves between us and the regular investor. I believe the regular investors out there. It's so interesting. I talk to people a lot about real estate investing, and depending upon who they are, I'll get a couple of different types of looks back from them. When they understand, you're a real estate investor. Oh, okay. Well, you just take advantage of people. Well, no, I don't just take advantage of. There's that stigma. There's that negative connotation out there that real estate investors are out for the money.
Exactly.
Right. There's that stereotype out there where if I am going to do this full time, yes, I do need to, and this is my business, I do need to make money. But you can do it and still approach it to where people are first. Okay. Because at the end of the day, no one buys their home or a piece of property with the intent to have to sell the house at a discount. No one does that. No one.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
However, life happens. And And no one expects to, maybe they get sick along the way, or they lose a job, or the house just becomes a hot mess and it's beyond a past state, or it's a hoarding situation, or maybe there's a weird lien or a title issue on the house. There's so many variables that we've experienced over the years where the house becomes the biggest burden and not the best asset. It's either a burden or an asset.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone is in that situation where the house is now a burden, they need to get rid of it and get rid of it quickly, right? So they start looking for resources and services to help them get rid of it,
Okay.
right? That's where we can come in. Now, we don't buy them all, but I need to understand what's really going on and how we might be able to help. There's situations that I'll go in and I'll sit down in that living room and sit down with that homeowner and talk to me, help me understand, why are you wanting to sell? Well, I really don't want to sell. Okay, well, tell me more. What do you mean you don't really want to sell? Well, really, I'd like to stay here for about 5 more years, but my mortgage is getting ready to do a rate change, and I can't afford it anymore. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. How do you actually talk with a mortgage guy to see if you can refinance out to make the numbers work? Well, no. Well, what if I introduce you to a mortgage guy to see if that's the best path for you?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if the best path for that person is that they want to stay there, then let's help them with that. But if the best path is for them to sell the house, then let's help them with that as well.
Okay.
So that's how I like to approach those living room conversations with people. Because again, Parag, no one buys a house with the intent to sell the house for less for what they bought the house for. No one does. But life happens and situations arise where people sometimes have to do that. And that's where we step in.
Yeah, and that's a fact. If you're buying a house or a property, you always expect to appreciate it gets appreciated, and once the appreciation is good enough for your expected return on investment ROI, then you'll definitely go for selling it and make big money.
Define big money, right? There's some houses that we'll get into that will make maybe $10,000 or $15,000, $20,000. Others will make a lot more. So every home is different, and real estate itself is expensive.
Yeah.
It's expensive to transact.
Correct.
Okay. If I was to walk you through, let me back up. There's 4 different types of exit strategies. As a real estate investor, we've identified that we actively practice and have been now for the last 20 years. And we have to in order to maintain cash flow.
Okay.
And sustain the business. The first one is an assignment of contract. I'll talk about that in a sec. The second one is a wholesale. I'll talk about the difference between us and assignment and wholesale with the wholesalers out there. The third is a fix and flip. And the fourth is a buy and hold. Those are your 4 exits. 4 exit strategies. And in order to maintain those 4, in order to maintain being a real estate investor long-term in the business, you need to actively practice all 4 of these in order to keep going. Okay? Over in the buy and hold world, think of that as your 401k. How easy is it for you to access your 401k? Not easy. It's not that easy. You can do it. There's hoops. You can do it, but it's not easy. So the buy and hold is sitting over here. You might get a few $100. If you've done the transaction and built it right, you might have a little bit of passive income. Maybe it's $100 a month, right? So there's not a lot there. So if you can have your money sitting there, great. But it's sitting there. You can't do anything with it. So how do you go and buy more if your money is sitting over here? Right?
Yeah, that's the first big challenge.
That's right. That's why I have to go back to 1, 2, or 3. On the assignment of contract, I can pick up a house under contract, right? And I can assign that contract. This is what the average wholesalers out there are doing right now. So I'll pick up a house, let's just say for $100,000, and I want to assign the contract. Maybe I've got another investor. Maybe I've got 10 other projects going and I don't have the bandwidth to take on another one, right? But I want to follow through on my commitment to that seller. I want to make sure we take care of that seller. And so I'm acting as kind of that quasi-agent, if you will, and I'm going to go find another buyer, and I'm going to assign the contract for maybe it's $1,000, $10,000, somewhere in there. I'm going to sign the contract. At closing, the investor gets the house, the seller gets their money, and I get the difference in between.
Okay.
There's no money out of my pocket, and I can get paid quickly. I can get paid in as less than 2 weeks.
Okay.
Right? So that helps supplement my business. That's the power of an assignment of contracts. That make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm creating my cash flow here. Creating some cash flow. Now the wholesale for me, I have access to money. I have access to many different kinds of lenders. I have access to money on the back end, so I can close on stuff, right? I can close on a property. Now that I own it, I have more control. I can wholesale this thing off as is. So again, maybe I bought the house for $100,000 and I can wholesale it off for 120 as is. Okay, I can put it on the market. Or I can look at the house and go, you know what? It's not financeable. If I just put a roof on it, now it's financeable. Okay, and now I can wholesale it off to another investor to finish it off. I could put it on the market for 125,000. I can do anything I want with the house because I own it. But I don't get paid until I sell the house.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So on the wholesale for me, I'd like to be in and out of that in 30 to 45 days, if that's my exit. So what do I have to do to sell it in 30 to 45 days? Traditional lending in that capacity is a little tricky because they want about 45 to 60, right? Your FHA, your conventional, they want about 45 days to 60 to get. So if I got it on the market immediately in a little bit longer, but it's close, under 60 days, you might make that work. But I want to be in and out of that in about 30 to 45 days. Again, another level of cash flow coming in because I don't get paid that difference until it actually closes.
Okay.
The third one is the fix and flip. I'd want to make a little bit more in that area because I'm taking on more risk. Right?
Right.
If I have that, if I close on that house and my exit is a fix and flip, I'm taking all the risk. I'm going to find, and there's always risk. You never know, in the older homes especially, you're going to find there's hidden stories in those walls, and they're going to surprise you, and you've got to get them fixed. We have to make the houses safe, right? And financeable. If it needs a roof, it needs plumbing, if it needs HVAC, if it needs any of those big ticket items, I've got to make sure I have the budget. And it's interesting at that point too, people always say, oh, you lowball us. I'm like, I'm not lowballing you. Let's do the math. It needs a roof. How much is a roof right now? Your roof right there, I can get someone in at 12 grand. Your guy's going to be 20, but I can get someone in at 12. You're going to need HVAC. When was the last time you had this archaic HVAC, your central AC, your heat? When was the last time you had the thing serviced, let alone was put in? Oh, back in 1970. So 70, 80, 90. So it's 30 plus years old, 40 years, right? 50 plus years old. It needs to be replaced. That's a $10,000 ticket item, right? I see a crack in the foundation. Were you aware of the crack? Yeah, I knew of the crack. Okay, have you had a quote to get it fixed? Yeah, I got a quote. What was your quote? About $33,000 to get the foundation fixed. Okay, now you know why I'm not lowballing you, but these big ticket items are expensive. And if I take on your house, I'm taking those responsibilities on because I'm going to be fixing it up and putting a new family in, and I can't sell them an unsafe product.
I got your point. Because what I've understood, it is like redeveloping a bad condition property. Actually, it takes your more efforts, energy, and money.
Yeah. And resources and time.
Exactly.
But the impact, so I want to talk about the positive impact, though, that real estate investors do make, especially on those fix and flips. And here's what it looks like to Parag, and that is the first positive impact is around when we buy that home. Typically, that seller is in a spot where when that house is sold, the relief off of their shoulders comes off is huge. They've been able to walk away from this burden that's been pulling them down and sucking them into such a deep, dark hole that now they're able to walk away from. Right? So that's the positive impact number one. And we always like to ask our sellers, do you have a place to go? When you sell this home, where are you going?
Okay.
What does your next chapter look like? Yes, I want to make sure. I am not buying their house if I put them on the street. I'm not doing that.
Oh, okay.
I'm not doing it. Right? I need to understand if I buy your house, where are you guys going? Oh, you know what? I got family over in Chicago. That's where we're going to be heading. And I've already got that all settled. Okay, great. At least now I know. Right? Or you know what? I've got to go over here to this living facility over here. That's my next step. Great. Do we need to have a conversation with them? Do you have money aligned for them so that you can get in? Talk to me about what that's going to look like for you. Do you have family coming in to help you make that move? Like, what does that look like? Right? So we have that level of conversation with the sellers. So knowing that they're able to walk away and into a better positive environment for their next chapter is what I want to hear. That's the positive impact number one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Positive impact number two. When we go into a house to do a fix and flip, we're in and out of these things, Parag, anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks on average. 2 weeks to 6 weeks. We are in and out of these houses. When we close on it, to put it back on the market. On average, our rehabs right now are anywhere from $65,000 to $150,000. On average, on one fix and flip. Materials are expensive. Labor is expensive.
Yeah.
Permits are expensive. Time is expensive. That is just for the flip. That is just for that fix and flip piece of it. I'm not even talking about the holding costs. Holding costs are a whole nother topic. But for that fix and flip, our budget going in is anywhere from 65 to 150 on average right now.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those go over. So let's just make an easy number of $100,000 in 6 weeks. Okay. We have a crew going in a house, in a neighborhood, that is going to go put $100,000 worth of labor and materials into a house in 6 weeks. We are putting small businesses to work. We are putting, we're pulling materials from other businesses, from both national businesses and local businesses. We're pulling materials in to also put into the house as well. We're putting tons of different businesses to work, from the yard guys, maintenance. We've got, if we're putting an HVAC, if we're using an HVAC company, if we're doing a roof, we're using a roofing company, right? And then when we actually get it done, we're pulling in stagers, we're pulling in a real estate agent, we're pulling in all these, the photographer, all these different little businesses that we're putting to work over the course of these 6 weeks. And then we put the house on the market. So what we've also done and noticed is you'll see a ripple effect around the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
The neighbors come over and go, oh, we're fixing up the house.
Mm-hmm.
What do they start doing? They start fixing up their house.
Okay.
So you see the ripple effect. Now, we've also improved the house value. So the positive impact there is we've taken a house that might have been valued at, let's just go $100,000, and now it might be valued at $150,000, right? Property value has increased. The neighborhood value has increased. Taxes have increased on the house as well. So your taxes back into the local community for parks, for churches, for whatnot are also going up and improving the community as well. When we go to sell the house, a new family comes in
Right.
and refreshes their memories in it. They're starting their new memories over. They're building roots. They're starting to build their roots in that community. And that's that third ripple effect right there.
Okay.
So the ripple effects that happen that are not talked about on the real estate investing side, on the residential world, it's just not talked about. Instead, people like to talk about the money. And I'm like, it's more than the money. It's about people. There's a lot of people affected by real estate investing that is not talked about. And that is the message that I want to get out to people out there today, like yourself, Parag, here at Unicorn Talks. The people side of the conversation for real estate investing is not talked about enough because it is a human aspect. And people forget that. Instead, they focus on the shiny money, which is needed to be made during it. But the bigger impact are the lives that are happening and impacted by the changes going on.
I love this ideology. Like, you prefer value creation than profit making. It's about empathy. It's about empathy over profits. It's about value creation, because eventually the result is your profit. But if you work for people, it will help you to be consistent and be in the profit market, or be in the industry and be relevant in people's mind, that these are the people who makes home. They don't just build the walls.
Right.
So you're building emotions.
It's someone's home and you're walking in. Now, here's the other reality too, Parag. We get phone calls every single day off of postcards that we mail out, right? People call us every single day off of a postcard. If you're telling me that someone's calling me off of the postcard, if someone in their living room is calling me off of a postcard, they're at a point in their life where they genuinely need some help and support. Okay. And they're reaching out for a lifeline. And I take that lifeline seriously. I want to make sure they trust me before we do business, because there are a lot of different ways to approach a real estate transaction. We see sub 2, we see novation, we see creative financing, which if it works for the seller, great. But a lot of times the seller just needs to be able to sell the house and move on.
You started this like full-fledged service was initiated in 2018, right?
In 2018, I quit my W-2 job. We bought our first Homevestors franchise, and I'm so grateful that we did. And when we first started into it, we had a great development agent within Homevestors, Carl Bassett and Mark McKellar. The development agent is like our coach or mentor that we need to go to. So as a franchise owner, I didn't realize that we had access to active coaches. But these coaches are also actively out there doing what we were doing. They were actively out there buying houses and practicing exit strategies, those 4 exit strategies that I talked about. They were actively still doing it. And so if I think of going to find education in real estate investing, specifically in residential, I want to go get training from people that are actively doing it, as well as have the experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go to someone that's maybe done 1 or 2. I want to go to someone that's done a couple thousand, maybe 500, maybe somewhere in those. I want more than a couple, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what we had access to. And there was no additional cost for it, Parag. I'm like, oh my God, I can like tail this guy and be his shadow and he's going to be okay with that? Yeah. And so Paul and I did. We were just like, oh my God, we flew down to Las Vegas for like a week and spent time in his office and just listened and learned. And we took it back into the field. He provided some resources as well along the way. We'd get stuck. We'd call him up. Carl, we're stuck. What do you think we need to do? Go do it this way. Great. We went and did it this way. And it worked. So we listened to our coaches and mentors as a big piece of it. At the time when we first bought our franchise, versus today, Parag, people ask, I want to get into real estate investing. Well, why do you want to get into real estate investing? I want to get into real estate investing because I want passive income. Oh my goodness. Define passive income. What's passive income mean to you, right? Passive income is a crazy thing. I'm like, you guys, what do you really want? You want financial freedom. Well, what is financial freedom, right? So we have those conversations, but I digressed for a second. What I realized you need as a real estate investor, if this is something that you want to do full time as a business, and being able to scale up and scale down as you want to do it, is you need access to 3 things, 3 basic things in order to be successful as a real estate investor.
Okay.
You need access to leads.
Access to leads.
You need access to leads. I need multiple different lead streams coming in from people that want to sell their house, right? If I don't have access to leads, I'm not buying houses.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I need access to money.
Obviously.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right. I need some of my own, but I also need access to other people's money. How is it that I can do 10 or 15 or 20 deals at one time? How? I have access to money.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I need access to education.
Okay.
But know who you're being educated by, right? If you want to focus on real estate investing for the residential world, great. Go find people that are doing residential real estate investing. Figure out how, and if they offer a coaching program, great, go do that. Or for us, it's a business. It's a franchise. You can buy your own franchise. We're looking for more. And you have that complete system built out for you. So you need access to leads, education, and money. Homevestors provides that. We didn't realize that they really provided all of that until after we were in. We're like, oh my God. Plus a lot more. There's a bigger network that we have access to. There's vendors we have access to. It's a complete business. And that's one thing that we really appreciate and why we've been able to stay with Homevestors for 6-7 years now, and we continue to grow and be successful. We've identified that they provide access to leads, access to money, and access to education. And as the market continues to shift and change, that education shifts and changes as well. And they continue to evolve with us, and that's why we're sticking around so long. So I don't know if that helps you or not, but that was a golden nugget right there.
I guess it is. Because, okay, access to leads, understood, access to money, understood, but it is one of the highly capital intensive industry. You need a lot of money to deal with it because you have to maintain it and you have to hold it for a longer period. But access to education is something good.
Yeah, holding costs can be expensive, and that's where you're going to need some of that of your own money because, let's say I do a $500,000 buy, right, for a house because real estate's not necessarily cheap anymore. Some markets you can still pick them up for 100 or 200,000, but I'm out here in Boise, Idaho, and I'm out in Seattle, Washington. In Seattle, Washington, we're picking them up for $500,000 and we're reselling them for $750 to $800,000. I mean, that's at $500,000, you're looking at a $5,000-$6,000 monthly hard money loan payment. And then you've got your other holding costs. You've got utilities, you've got all these little things that go along with owning that house. Plus, I'm paying for some of the rehab as well. Now, as a home investors franchise, I do get 100% financing on my purchase. That saves some capital. I also get access to 100% financing on the rehab. I have to prepay for it, and then I get reimbursed. But I have access to that. So again, that helps with my capital as a business owner. Does that make sense? So I'm able to put less money out and keep more money so I can continue to do more than one or two at a time and more than one or two during the year to keep that money coming in. And that starts creating that cash flow and the financial independence.
Oh.
And you have fun along the way. And you meet great people.
Yeah, that's right. During this high money trail journey, you meet a lot of people, you learn from them. You learn some great life lessons as well. You learn great business lessons. So do you have any specific lesson you would like to share with our viewers?
Yes. So I'll start with, I was fortunate to be surrounded by some very strong people growing up. I grew up in Anchorage, Alaska, and I had some true pioneering grandparents on both sides, very strong women on both sides, very strong women growing up. And I learned that it was okay to use my voice, and I do today. I see a lot of people, men and women, who are afraid to stand up and use their voice. They have the head trash in their head, and they find that they get in their own way in order to move forward and do something. So I encourage people and I coach people. I like to identify what they want to accomplish. And if they don't know what that is, they need to define that and figure it out, because no one can help them, including themselves, if they don't know what they want. But if you know what you want and you've defined that, share it and go after it. And don't let anyone get in your way, especially yourself.
Okay, I get it.
The biggest obstacle typically is your own self.
Self-doubt.
You've got to figure out how to get out of your own way. And then mountains start moving, Parag. Mountains start moving. And, it's scary to do that, but believing in yourself is okay. It's a good thing. Standing up for yourself is a good thing. And being strong enough to do that. So you've got to figure out how to move those obstacles and those no's out of the way and keep moving forward until you get your yeses and you figure it out. And you won't get your yeses until you figure it out. And you're going to fail along the way. You got to be okay with that. And I was fortunate to grow up with that. And I learned more of that in the tech world because there were not a lot of women there. I found myself, I'd find myself in team meetings. I'm looking around going, I'm the only girl here. All right, that's cool. I'm okay with that. And I used my voice. Same thing in real estate. I'd look around, especially in investing, Parag. I'd look around and I'm like, where are the women? Why aren't the women here? Come on. So we needed to add a little diversity. And so we're seeing more and more women in both industries today. I'm so proud of us for being able to stand up and come into these industries. And women do so well in real estate investing. They really do. Those that get into it, I see that, and this is something that they want to do. And you got to have the mindset too. This is what I want to do. It's like anything. I can't just show up and expect things to happen. I got to make things happen.
Yeah.
And if you show up into real estate investing expecting things to just happen, it's not gonna. You go into any field, any industry. You want to go into engineering, you've got to learn it. You've got to dig in. You've got to lean in. You've got to make mistakes. You got to grow. You got to fail. You got to learn. You go into astrophysics, anything you go into in the world, police, politics, anything you go into in the world, you've got to learn it and lean in and want to go do it. So if real estate investing is where you want to go, you're going to want to lean in and learn it and be okay. But find people that can help support you along the way too, and that you can learn from.
People support. The right people support is very much important when you are into such a critical and big journey.
For sure. Because real estate can either make you or it can break you. And I've seen it break people. I've seen it. And it's scary. I'm like, oh my God. The worst part is, even in the coaching world, I can coach someone, give them guidance, but it is up to them whether or not they want to listen and follow through. And I've seen those that don't listen and follow through. And what happens is they're no longer doing this. So listening to those coaches that you do decide to lean in and engage with is very important. I genuinely want to see people succeed in this if they're working with me. And that's the next level that Paul and I are at too. We're at a point too right now with what we're doing is we are going out and we're coaching and we're doing some speaking as well. Because at the end of the day, what we want to see is our franchisees that we support. So Paul and I started off as franchise owners, but we're now also development agents. So what's a development agent within Home Investors? It's that coach. It's that mentor. I talked about Carl Bassett and Mark McKellar. They're deep development agents and coaches. Home Investors Corporate tapped us on the shoulder about 3 years in and said, you guys are doing the right things. We think you could be a development agent. Would you be open to coaching? And we're like, sure, let's talk about that. And so today, Paul and I are the development agents for Washington State, Idaho State, Montana, Utah, and Las Vegas. And so what does that mean? That means we onboard and train new franchisees. And what we're finding is our next level for success, Parag, is where we watch our franchisees being able to walk away from their W-2 jobs because they've gotten to that point with Home Investors that they are making enough money, they're helping enough people, they're supporting enough people within their community to be able to grow and move on to the next step. They're finding financial independence and they're walking away from their W-2 jobs. That for us is the next level that we want to see within our team. That is success for us.
Right. It is not about enrollment, it is about the success rate of that specific individual.
And knowing that we had a part in that.
So that gives a sense of relief.
That's right. Well, we didn't do the work. They had to go do the work, but we were a part of that journey that they came into the franchise owner going, and we took the time to understand what are your goals? What do you want to get out of being the Home Investors franchise owner? What do you want to get out of this industry? Help us understand that. Well, we want to have 100 rental doors by this year. We want to be able to walk away from our W-2 job by that year. These are our goals. I said, okay, great. Let's work towards that. Here's what we need to do. And sure enough, they're starting to walk away from their W-2 jobs. They're getting rental doors and a passive income level they thought they never could get. They're realizing that they can buy outside of their state that they live in. And that's okay. They can do it. It can be done. It is being done. They don't just have to buy it in the state that they live in. Because that state that they live in might not be a landlord-friendly state. Another critical piece there in buying your rental doors. So that's where Paul and I are at. We're at that point where the success for us right now is being able to support people that are able to move on to that next stage in their lives. That feels good for us, knowing that we had a part.
Okay, so this is getting towards some emotional aspects of your leadership. So first, tell me one thing. Why Road Warrior Investors? What brings that name into the picture?
What brings Home Investors into the name?
No, Road Warrior Investors.
Oh,
RWI.
Road Warrior Investors. Yes, RWI, Road Warrior Investors. So, Road Warrior Investors was created a couple of years ago. And it really, again, goes right back to the people first mentality. Paul and I realized we enjoy traveling. We're empty nesters. And we happen to have a large territory that we do work within, 5 states. But larger than that, we have access to 1,000 different real estate investors nationwide. And what are they doing, Parag? They're adding value and adding positive impacts to so many different people across the U.S., but their stories are not being heard. And so Road Warrior Investors was created to enable us to travel the U.S., reconnect with real estate investors to have them share their stories on the positive impacts that they are making as real estate investors in their local communities. Okay. That is Road Warrior Investors. And that's Paul and I. So we travel around and we connect with real estate investors that are actively doing real estate investing. They might have signed a contract, they might wholesale, they might fix and flip, they might buy and hold. But we're walking into these living rooms with them and we're sharing the stories right there in the living rooms. This is not a PowerPoint presentation type of a channel or platform. This is in the field.
So it's on the ground. It's on the ground. It's not virtual. It's on the ground.
That's right. We are in the field actually talking to other real estate investors. We have them share their stories. How did you pick up this house? Where did the lead come from? How did you pay for the house? What kind of rehab are you doing? How much are you putting into the rehab? How many different businesses are you putting to work from this one job? How many other rehabs you got going on right now? We met with a gal, Heather, in Texas. This was probably a year and a half, 2 years ago now. We have content on our YouTube on this, but we met with Heather, and when we walked through one of the houses that she was in the final stages of and getting ready to put on the market, I asked Heather, I said, Heather, how many different projects do you have going right now? 19. She had 19 active other projects going on at that same time. Same time. That is the power, Parag, of access to money, leads, and education. That is the access to those three. That is the power behind it. In that content, we talked about how she found the property. We talked about how she paid for it. We talked about a story from how she picked up her very first one. So there's a lot of really neat stuff and really neat stories in that one. We have a lot of those stories as well. Not only from other real estate investors, but also the stories ourselves from the living rooms of so many different people, because Paul and I still actively go out in the field and buy houses. We get phone calls and we are the buyers here in Boise, and we go out into the living room and meet with people and figure out what's going on and how we might be able to help.
I have two very critical questions here.
Yes.
Okay. So one is about the content creation, just you mentioned, and I went through your profile and I saw that you guys create great content on real estate. I just wanted to know, content creation is different, and dealing in the real market is quite different. So is content creation helping you to convince your clients or your customers easily?
That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know. There's times when we're putting this out there, and I'm like, I don't know if it's making an impact on the social market feed, on the social feeds or not. Paul and I've had that question: do we keep doing content or not? Because I don't know. I mean, we have not found a lot of people reaching out that need our services where we could go buy a house. And we have not had a lot of people reach out to us where they're looking for a real estate investing business model that they'd like to learn a little bit more about to see if it's a fit for them. We have not had people reach out a lot on either of those areas. And so we do question, does the social media platforms help us or not? I don't know that we've determined that yet. But we do like sharing the stories. I like sharing them.
Okay, so it's just a platform where you share your story. That's it. Nothing beyond
That's
like
it.
any commercial income would be coming over there. That's not the
I
point.
would love to be able to make money off of the social media platforms. I haven't figured it out yet.
All
Tell me
right.
how. Tell me how. I'm missing a button or something. I don't know.
Okay.
No, we've started monetizing a little bit, but it's only like a couple $100 on like the TikTok and the Facebook and Meta. But we have not made any money on YouTube or LinkedIn or anything like that. So it's just been a platform for us to use to message out what we do and how we do it differently when it comes to real estate investing. Because I do believe that there's still that negative connotation out there in what we do, where it's so focused on the money, but that narrative needs to be shifted and changed, because it should really be focused on the people. Because at the end of the day, we're talking about someone's home. This is where they live. And that is so great, so much greater than money.
Okay. And I'll just let you know why I came to this question. A couple of months ago, I saw a video on Instagram, and it was like sharing, the content creator was sharing a story of an ice cream parlor. So they had very less money to build their shop. So what they did is they created a story, and they started posting their updates on what's the status of their store on the internet. People loved it so much that after their opening, even though they didn't have any great opening session, or they didn't have any VIP opening session over there, the crowd just came in because they were connected to them. So that is
I
how they
love it.
leverage the social media. So I was just curious to know, is it helping you to make money or just connect with the audience?
I don't know. I don't know if we're approaching the content wrong or if we need to approach it differently. We're very open. I mean, at the end of the day, I would like to find a way to get our message out there, because I think it's a message that needs to be talked about, in that, real estate investing does not need to be focused on money. It does need to be focused more on the people. These are houses and situations and families hidden in plain sight.
Mm-hmm.
There's hoarding situations, there's domestic challenges going on, there's all these things going on
Yeah.
right there. And people, it's there, but there's a bigger story. It's impacting the family. And how do we go in and help them figure that out? And that's where we really need, viewers or people out there to go, let's engage with the right type of people, someone like ourselves who can go in and actually take a moment and understand what's going on and how, if we might be able to help and what that would look like. Because we also take the time to learn, or we take the time to engage with a lot of local small businesses, Parag, that help support our business. Okay. For example, we engage with a lot of different roofing companies, HVAC companies. We engage with estate services. We engage with law firms that focus on real estate, right? Now, why do we do that? Because when I'm in the living room, I never know where that conversation is going to go. Maybe they just need to have their roof repaired and they don't know how to get the roof repaired. Maybe. We've had these conversations in the living room. Maybe they need to talk to somebody. There was a death in the family. The family itself is scattered all over the U.S. They don't want to deal with the house, but they need to sell the house. So they don't know who to engage in terms of a law firm to help them down that path. We have those connections. I can help them with those connections so that we can solve the problem in order for them to sell the house. So we also take that time to actually engage with those local businesses to help support our customers. So having viewers understand that, again, it's not about us, it's about them and what they might need in order to sell their house, if that's the exit that they want to go through selling that house. I think maybe that's a different way to approach it, but I need help. So is there someone out there that can help us? Send them my way. I'll talk to them.
Great, great. So I have one deep question for you now. So it is about legal climate and geopolitics. So last year we had wildfires, extreme wildfires
Wildfires, yes.
on the west coast of US. And it showed us the reality of no matter how premium or how luxurious apartments or house you have, it can get turned into ashes or it can get destroyed within fraction of seconds. How do you see these kind of challenges? And let's say this was once in a lifetime incident in that specific region or any specific region. But do people trust the redevelopment agencies or the companies that, this is going to be okay now? And do people reinvest over there?
So if I understand the question, it's, dealing with natural disasters that happen in your area that can affect your home, and then what you do with that home when that happens. Is that kind of the situation? How do you deal with that? I think there's insurance. I know California, there was a big challenge there because there was a lack of insurance availability on some of those homes down there during those wildfires. And that was where the bigger issue came into factor, was that, you have these beautiful homes, but if they're not insured and they burn down, it's all gone.
Yeah.
That's a different conversation, right? And if you're asking an investor to come in to buy that, can't really buy that at face value anymore. You really can't, right?
Correct.
And just understanding that now, it's a huge loss for someone in that situation, and I send my prayers out for that, for those people. But we do deal with natural disasters quite often. And that was one of the things I appreciated too about home investors, is we would identify that. I'll give you Florida, for example, right? You get a lot of hurricanes down there, you get water damage down there, right?
Yeah,
and there was a couple of hurricanes that happened a few years ago, and the marketing team was able to identify that and quickly shift marketing specifically for that. Or even for COVID. We went through COVID, right?
Yeah.
Right. And because we had a huge marketing team on the back end, we were able to shift our marketing narrative and conversation back out. Even despite COVID, we can still come in and buy your house. So if that's something that you want to sell and sell quickly, give us a call. Let's talk about it. We were given training on how to buy a house sight unseen, right? And help those sellers move past those points if that's what they wanted to do and sell their house. So we got the training and education we needed. The marketing was adjusted, so the leads kept coming in as well, which were two big critical factors in that as well. And at the end of the day, it's on both sides. It has to feel good, look good, and it has to feel good and look good in terms of the transaction on both sides of the coin. And so even on the seller side, I'm making sure, are we good here? Do you have any questions? Because I realize I do this every day. They don't. They're going to have questions as we go through the transaction. I want them to ask me questions, but I can't read their minds, so they need to ask me. Otherwise, I can't answer their questions. So I would encourage people as you go to look at selling houses, talk to people, figure out what the best path is and what the best outcome is that you want to do for that house. But also realize that, you know, if you're working with a cash buyer, someone like myself, I am pretty transparent when it comes to my numbers, but I'm not lowballing someone when I actually go in and actually try to buy their house. So a lot of people go, "Oh, you're going to make $100,000 on this house in the transaction because you're offering me, you know, $350, but my house is worth $500. You're going to make $150,000 on this thing." And I'm like, in reality, I'm not. And here's why. I've got a $75,000 budget. So now I'm at 4.25. I've got holding costs that are probably $25,000. So I'm gonna hold this thing for 6 months. Even when I put it on the market, I gotta go resell it. I incur all of your fees as well, just like you would put. So I've got 8 to 10% in transaction fees just when I go to sell it. So in reality, I'm making 15, 20, 25,000 maybe. That's if there's no hidden secrets in these walls when I start doing the rehab. So I take on a lot of risk, and it can be very expensive to do real estate. And you can either make money or you can quickly lose money. You gotta be careful there. So it's tough, right? So that's where you want to just, the reality, I think people, as I get it, you're emotionally involved in your home and you think it's the most beautiful home out there. And we're not there to insult you, but the reality is if someone was to come in and do a rehab on the house, the numbers have to work on both sides. Don't be insulted by the number that being thrown on by the investor side, because it's not, from us, it's not an insult. It is, we're genuinely trying to get you as much money as possible. But real estate is expensive and it's risky on our side. There's a lot of stuff going on the back end. When we go to sell a house right now, there's so much risk going on. You got appraisers out there coming in, underballing the appraisal prices. You got inspections coming in that are throwing in crazy inspections. You got contingencies coming in that are going crazy. People want $10,000, $20,000 off just because. You're like, what? So in reality, when I list a house for $500, it might land at $450, right? Just with all the contingencies and stuff we're giving back. So there's all those things too that go into factors. So there's a lot going in. But at the end of the day, if someone wants to sell their house and sell it quickly, finding a trusted name brand does help as opposed to an average investor out there. Just saying.
How's the legal framework for the real estate industry in the US right now? And is it helping the companies as well as the buyers or the homeowners to buy new houses or just acquire a home on rent? And how geopolitics is hitting it hard? The tariff part. I'm asking about the tariffs part.
Yeah, materials have gone up in terms of pricing. We've seen that, cost of materials, even access to some of the materials. So when we were back in the COVID days, a lot of materials were just not available. So you had to get creative and figure out what you had in stock or what was available at the local store to be able to make your rehab work. We found that, you know, being able to get, say, windows. You know, before pre-COVID, you could get windows in less than anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. And then COVID hit. And now you're looking at 6 weeks to 6 months to get some of your windows. So those impact your timeline if you're trying to get in and out of a house on a rehab quickly, right? So we saw a lot of those types of situations kind of come up quickly and out of the blue when COVID hit. And now we're slowly starting to see some of those restocks on some of those materials. And kind of it's coming back. But, you know, tariffs are coming in now. We do see price changes on some materials, but we're also starting to see prices go down in some areas too. So we have seen the shift. I know gas has also gone down recently as well. So we're slowly starting to see that shift go back a little bit. It just takes time, and it's going to take a little bit more time as well. But tariffs. It's part of business, I guess, too, right? I mean, you've got to factor that into your budget when you do a rehab. It's just part of this. I'm more concerned right now with, because of where the market is at, buyers have more options when they go to buy houses. And they can be picky, right? And they can ask for things. In order for us to close the house, we might have to give a couple of extra concessions just to get the thing across the finish line, because I don't get paid until the house sells.
Yeah, that's the sense, right? Because you're selling house, that's your main product.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the variables that go into closing the thing than I am worried about the tariffs coming in.
Okay. I just have one last question which just hit my mind. It is about, can you just list out 5 best cities in the US where we can start investing now and we can have good money over there?
Well, thank you for that lead-in. So Paul and I, like I said earlier, Paul and I are the development agents, AKA coaches and mentors for Home Investors of America, the We Buy Ugly Houses people. And what that means is we onboard and train new franchisees. We are actively looking to grow our team. When we were looking for more franchise owners in Washington State, Idaho, Montana, Utah, and Las Vegas, so Nevada. And so if you're in those states and you are looking for a business model that is consistent and has access to leads, education, and money, specifically for real estate, then you're going to want to make sure you look us up and you engage with us. We've got a website, roadwarriorinvestors.com. There's a form you can submit and it'll come into us directly and we can follow up with you on that. Now, nationwide, there are still also franchises available nationwide as well. And so again, if you're outside of those states, that's okay. And you become a franchise owner, that's okay. We have some incredible development agents. In fact, we just came back from leadership training where I'm sitting in the room going, oh my gosh, there is so much knowledge in this room from these development agents and the corporate leadership teams here in real estate investing on the residential side. It was insane. And to be surrounded by that and to learn from that and then take that back out into the field, Parag, I'm telling you, it is life-changing. And so we do have some incredible development agents nationwide, and we are looking for more franchise owners. So if you're looking for a real estate investor's business model, one that's proven and that works, you're going to want to reach out and we'll make sure we have the conversation. Now, this is more than a 5-minute conversation because you're buying a business.
Right.
And so just to keep that expectation in mind, we encourage you, you're doing a discovery, you're learning about this to see if it's even a fit. A lot of people will come in, discover it's just not a fit. That's okay. I'm not going to apply pressure. It's either a fit or not. Because if you're going to be a part of my team, I want to make sure it's a fit.
Well, thank you so much, ma'am. I guess I'm done with my questions because this was way beyond my capacity, because real estate is something which I was never into it. I just kept it aside because this is very critical and I just didn't want it to get into it. But you made it so easy to understand and you made it interesting that this is not just about money. The perspective which
No.
I had previously, I've changed that now. That there are some good leaders who actually think about beyond money in this industry. Thank you for this lovely conversation, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Parag. I know at the end of the day, it is about people. We're impacting their lives, and they're at a critical point in their life when we're buying their house that they genuinely need that lifeline, and we take that seriously. And we can't help everyone, right? The numbers do have to work, and the terms have to work on both sides. But a lot of times we'll go into that situation, and we can provide them with a resource that can help them in other ways too.
And guys, if you are really interested in real estate, you have the right person. Just get in touch, make your life better now. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Perfect, ma'am. Thank you so much for this deep down conversation on the real estate, ma'am. It was great
Beautiful.
talking to
Appreciate you, Parag. And your platform, Unicorn Talks, I love it.
you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for that.